Chosen ones. This is the moment everything changes. What you're experiencing right now isn't coincidence, it's a divine appointment. The message you're hearing is your spiritual activation, an awakening that has been foretold since before you were born. Scripture tells us in Jeremiah 1:5, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart." That means your calling isn't accidental, it's intentional. The journey you've walked has not been easy. You've faced rejection, isolation, and seasons of silence where it felt like heaven was shut. But chosen ones often endure the wilderness before they step into their promised land. Just as David was anointed king long before he sat on the throne, you've carried greatness while moving through struggle. The pressure you've felt was not punishment, it was preparation. And now, the shift is here. This isn't about hyper-emotion. This is a spiritual threshold. Think of it like the moment Moses stood at the Red Sea. Behind him was Egypt, bondage, fear, the old life. Before him was the impossible. But obedience to God opened what was shut. That's what's in front of you right now, the impossible made possible, if you act in faith. Here's what's important. Your next move matters. Numbers like 111 aren't superstition. They've long been recognized in biblical numerology and spiritual studies as signs of divine alignment. The number 1 signifies unity with God, fresh starts and authority. Triple ones, that's a divine trumpet blast, a signal that your time is now. So ask yourself, will I move forward in faith or retreat in fear? Everything you've prayed for, clarity, abundance, purpose, is waiting on the other side of this choice. This is not about getting hyped up, it's about waking up. This is your spiritual call to arms. If you've been waiting for a sign, this is it. No more shrinking, no more delay. Heaven is watching, your destiny is calling. Let's step into it together, right now. Point 1, the inner yes must outweigh the outer no. You've got voices swirling around you, some loud, some subtle, but all echoing doubt. That's not realistic, they say. You should probably play it safe. And of course, the old classic, who do you think you are? But here's the thing, chosen one, when the Creator has already stamped your destiny with a divine yes, the opinions of man become background noise. You weren't called by the crowd, you were called by the Creator. That calling didn't come through a public announcement, it came as a whisper, a sacred pull that defies logic but burns with truth. Think about this. Some of the world's greatest visionaries were once labeled delusional. Galileo, Harriet Tubman, Nikola Tesla, even Mother Teresa, each moved by an inner conviction that defied the culture around them. They weren't looking for a round of applause or waiting for approval. They heard the whisper, felt the stirring, and followed through. That same spiritual fire, it's in you. The final step in your journey begins the moment you stop looking outward for validation. The world didn't ordain your purpose, so why are you giving it the power to approve or reject it? People will question you, mislabel you, and even mock your journey because they don't see the vision. But their confusion isn't your assignment to fix. Your job is to obey the fire inside you, the one placed there by divine design. That feeling deep in your belly, that unshakable nudge that wakes you up at night, urges you to create, to speak, to move. That's not anxiety, that's confirmation. That's the sacred yes echoing inside your spirit, louder than the noise around you. And when you stop muting it, when you stop negotiating your light to make others comfortable, that's when the breakthrough begins. Remember, chosen one, truth doesn't need a crowd to be valid. It only needs a vessel brave enough to carry it. So silence the doubters, not with arguments, but with action, with obedience, with fire. The Creator already said yes, that's the only permission you'll ever need. Point 2, you will lose people, and that's a sign you're on track. Let's just get real here. When you finally step into the final stage of your calling, when you stop playing small and start embracing the full power of who you are spiritually, emotionally, and purposefully, people will disappear. Friends you thought were lifelong, family who once cheered you on, and followers who claimed they believed in you, gone. And that silence, that shift, it can feel jarring, even painful at first, but trust this, it's not punishment, it's purification. You see, when you're called to something higher, not everyone can come with you. The higher the calling, the smaller the circle. This isn't just poetic, it's psychological and spiritual truth. In sociology, there's something called role strain, where people in your life struggle to adjust when your identity transforms. When you rise, evolve, and expand, it threatens the version of you they were comfortable with. Some people are not equipped to meet the new frequency you're operating on, and that's okay. In fact, some people were only ever attached to your silence. They found comfort when you were unsure, insecure, or playing it safe. You were easier to manage when you didn't know your worth, but when you start roaring like the spiritual lion you were born to be, when you speak truth, stand tall, and walk boldly in divine purpose, they scatter, they flee because your light exposes their shadows. Your confidence reminds them of dreams they buried. Your transformation highlights their stagnation. And rather than face themselves, they retreat. Let them. Losing people isn't a setback, it's sacred. It's part of the ascension. Think of a rocket ship. When it takes off, parts of it are designed to fall away so it can go higher. You don't need everyone to clap for your calling, you just need to keep climbing. Because God? Oh, He's intentional. The ones who fall off were never assigned to your final destination. And the right ones, the aligned ones, they rise with you, not against you. They don't fear your fire, they're fueled by it. So when the circle gets smaller, smile. That's not isolation, it's elevation. That's God making room for the ones who are built for your next level. Stay steady, stay sacred, and rise. Point 3. Spiritual obedience is the currency of breakthrough. Chosen ones don't chase money, they don't chase fame. They chase something far rarer and more powerful. Obedience. Not obedience to people or trends or the chaos of the world, but divine obedience. They live by downloads from the Spirit. Divine nudges that come unannounced and make very little logical sense. This is where true elevation begins. See, every breakthrough, every blessing, every long-awaited door you've been praying for, it doesn't come by hustle alone. It doesn't come by status or strategy. It comes down to one simple, yet spiritually weighty question. Did you do what you were told to do? That's the test. And while it may sound simple, it's never easy. Because the Spirit's instructions will often interrupt your comfort, challenge your logic, and mess with your carefully curated 5-year plan. You might hear a divine whisper telling you to leave a steady job for an uncertain path, or a subtle, persistent urge to apologize first, even when you feel wronged, or perhaps a prompting to speak truth in a room where silence would protect your reputation. It feels crazy until the fruit shows up, until the miracle manifests. That's when you realize obedience isn't about understanding, it's about trusting the one who sees what you cannot. Scientific research on intuition suggests that our brains can process and synthesize data faster than our conscious minds can grasp. That means when you get that inner nudge, that gut feeling, it's often based on more information than you consciously realize. But spiritual obedience goes even deeper. It's rooted not just in inner knowing, but in divine guidance. That's where the chosen ones shine. They don't wait for signs to make sense. They obey first, and the evidence follows. Miracles, breakthroughs, divine alignments, these don't answer to logic. They respond to faith in action. In Scripture, Naaman wasn't healed by understanding Elisha's bizarre instructions. He was healed by obeying them. Peter didn't catch fish by arguing with Jesus about fishing techniques. He obeyed and the nets overflowed. Chosen ones understand you can't pray for God's blessing while ignoring God's voice. So if you're seeking that next level, if you're hungry for breakthrough, don't delay, obey quickly, completely, and fearlessly. That's the key, that's the strategy, that's how heaven moves. Point 4, you cannot take old baggage into new dimensions. Chosen one, drop the bags, you're rising higher, now chosen one. Let's get real for a moment. That heaviness you've been carrying, the bitterness, the shame, the endless what-ifs. It's not just emotional clutter, it's spiritual weight. And as you ascend into your next chapter, a realm filled with divine purpose, clarity, and prophetic fire, you're going to need to travel light. That next level you're stepping into isn't for the burdened or bound. It's for the bold and unburdened. It's for the healed, not the haunted. Bitterness is sneaky. It tells you that holding on to pain is protection, that staying angry is how you keep your power. But in reality, it's like dragging dead weight behind you and calling it armor. Neuroscience has shown that chronic resentment and suppressed trauma literally rewire your brain for survival instead of growth. Your thoughts stay in loops. Your body stays in defense. You can't create, lead, or rise like that. You're too weighed down. Forgiveness isn't about letting them off the hook. It's about cutting the cord that's been tethering your soul to pain. It's the release of poison you were never meant to drink. Releasing shame, that's you, taking off the labels of life and lies slapped on you. You are not what they did to you. You are not the betrayal. You are not the loss. You are the lesson, the breakthrough, the living proof that God restores. Chosen one, the future God has carved out for you, your throne, your mission, your legacy. It's not just around the corner, it's calling your name, but you can't walk into it tripping over your own trauma. Imagine arriving at your destiny, carrying bags so full of past pain that you miss the moment entirely. That's not your portion. You were made for joy, for peace, for elevation. So drop the bags, all of them. The ones filled with silent grudges, the ones stuffed with anxiety, the ones wrapped in fear of repeating the past. Trust the process, trust the healing, trust that what's ahead is so much greater than anything behind you. Because when you walk light, you walk in truth. And when you walk in truth, nothing can stop your rise. Chosen one, let go. You're being summoned higher. Point 5, the final test comes in disguise. Here's a wild truth that many overlook on the path to elevation. The final test doesn't arrive with sirens or flashing warning signs. It often shows up dressed like everything you ever prayed for. It's the perfect job offer, the dreamy relationship, the life-changing opportunity, all wrapped in glitter and laced with words that sound spiritual, feel divine, and look like destiny. But underneath that sparkling surface, a test, a trap, a counterfeit. And if you're not grounded, if you're not tapped into your spirit's frequency, you might just fall for it. Spirit warriors, this is where discernment becomes your most powerful shield. It's not enough to just know what you want. You have to know what you don't want masquerading as what you do. Discernment isn't about judging people or opportunities. It's about reading the vibration behind the presentation. Scientific studies have shown that the gut-brain connection, what we often call intuition, is a real biological phenomenon. The enteric nervous system, often referred to as the second brain in your gut, can pick up on subtle cues before your rational mind catches up. If your stomach churns, if your energy dips, if your peace vanishes, listen. You see, the final test isn't meant to break you. It's meant to prove you, to show you and the universe that you finally internalized the lessons from all the heartbreaks, the betrayals, and the detours, that you're no longer fooled by empty promises or seduced by glittering distractions. This test asks, will you settle for the imitation or wait for the divine original? When you're on the brink of leveling up, the enemy doesn't come with chains, he comes with gifts. And that's the scariest part, because it looks like everything you asked God for, but your spirit knows. That low hum of disturbance, that whisper of something's off, that's your inner compass screaming, this isn't it, so stay sharp, stay awake, stay aligned. You've come too far to fall for a beautiful lie now. Walk away if your soul isn't at peace, because what's real, what's divine, won't disturb your spirit. And remember, the counterfeit always comes before the crown. The test is just a bridge. The blessing, that's waiting on the other side. Point 6, your voice activates others. Here's the part we often miss, especially when the journey feels lonely, heavy, and deeply personal. We tell ourselves it's all about our growth, our healing, our success. But chosen one, the final step isn't just about you, it never was. It's about the lives invisibly tethered to yours, waiting in the shadows, watching from afar, hoping desperately that someone like you makes it out. You see, every time you rise, you give them silent permission to rise too. You're not just climbing for yourself. You're blazing a trail for others who haven't yet found the courage to take the first step. You are, quite literally, a spiritual domino. Your courage sets off a chain reaction. Your healing cracks open a doorway in someone else's heart. When you speak, your words become keys that unlock invisible cages in the minds of those listening. Chains start to rattle, old beliefs start to crumble, and light begins to leak through cracks long sealed shut. When you move, when you really move, you inspire motion in others who've been paralyzed by fear, doubt, or trauma. It's like lighting a torch in a pitch-black cave. Suddenly others can see just far enough ahead to keep walking. This isn't just poetic inspiration. Studies in behavioral psychology support this too. Humans are deeply influenced by social proof. When someone they admire dares to do something different, especially in the face of adversity, they become far more likely to believe they can do it too. Your risk becomes their reassurance, your boldness, their blueprint. This is why every time you give up, shrink, or hide, there's a ripple effect as well. But when you go all in, when you say yes to your calling without half-stepping, you change the room. The frequency around you elevates. The people near you start to breathe deeper, dream bigger, and live braver. So if you're on the edge of quitting, shrinking, or waiting for permission, don't. Not just for you, but for them. The ones you may never meet, but who need your light to find theirs. The ones whose destiny is silently intertwined with yours. If you won't do it for yourself, do it for them. Because when a chosen one answers the call, generations are changed. Point 7. You were built for this, even if it scares you. Fear is often misunderstood. We treat it like a red light, something to stop us, to warn us that we're out of our depth. But what if fear isn't the signal that you're unqualified? What if it's confirmation that you're standing on sacred ground? Throughout history, every prophet, every chosen one, every soul called for a greater purpose trembled at the magnitude of their mission. Moses doubted his speech. Esther feared her life. Jonah ran. Even Jesus, in Gethsemane, wept under the weight of his calling. Fear wasn't their disqualification. It was proof of the power tied to their purpose. And like them, you're not exempt from fear. You're just called to move anyway. You see, when God places a fire in your bones, it doesn't come with an instruction manual that guarantees ease or applause. It comes with divine tension, pressure that stretches your spirit, sharpens your character, and prepares you for the weight of your assignment. That fear in your chest, it's not weakness, it's awakening. It's heaven tapping you on the shoulder, whispering, "You're ready." Even if you don't feel like it, you were built for this. Science even backs this up. Psychologists recognize that fear and excitement are chemically similar. Both activate the amygdala, the brain's emotional response center. The body can't always tell the difference, so what you call fear might just be your spirit interpreting destiny knocking at the door. And let's not forget, God doesn't make mistakes. The gifts in your hands, the wisdom you've gained through storms, the dreams that haunt and heal you, those aren't random. They're divine blueprints coded into your soul before you ever took your first breath. You weren't just born, you were sent. Sent to light dark places, sent to shift atmospheres, sent to be the answer someone else is praying for. So, spirit warrior, don't run from the fear. Stand in it, walk through it, own it. Because that trembling in your gut, that's the same trembling every soul feels right before they rise. Step forward anyway. No matter the cost, the world needs what you carry. You were tailor-made for this moment, and nothing, not fear, not doubt, not opposition, can cancel what's already written in the heavens. You've got this. Now move. Chosen one, listen closely. It's not about being ready. It's about being willing, willing to let go, willing to trust God, willing to leap. This is the final step, and it will cost you. But the cost is nothing compared to the kingdom you're walking into. So do it now, no matter the cost, and never forget, you are not alone, you are not crazy, you are not too late, you are called, you are chosen, and you are absolutely ready. Stay awake on your spiritual journey, spirit warrior. We need you. The world needs you. Heaven is watching. Let's go.